Talking and not talking with Laura Solon.
Some kids just don't know they're born. I mean, really, the education system is that bad. They literally don't know they are born. You say to them, have you been born? And they go, I don't know. Then they have to do a check on Google.
Kids these days, I mean, they grow up too fast. I mean, there's a kid near me, he's 13. He retired last week. Age 13. I mean, that's wrong.
I saw this kid wearing a hoodie, and I can't stand them, you know, so I made him take it off, and I felt terrible because he had this really pointy head.
So that comes to £85.75, please.
We live in the barn conversion on Mill Road.
Right.
So...
Oh dear. So perhaps there's some sort of discount?
It costs £85.75.
Right, I don't think look, it's a converted barn, do you see?
With a 100-foot south-facing reception room. The floor tiles were handmade in Rome.
Oh, I see.
There we go.
Let me just work that out. That'll be £92.75, please.
Right, that has gone up.
Well, as you say, you do live in a barn conversion.
We will take it.
Sal!
Nigel, everything's going to be different. Just pay the woman what she wants. We're barn people now.
Why philosophy? It's a good question, although perhaps what you should be asking is philosophy why? Because we want to. But you didn't. No. So, why philosophy? Well, since time began, mankind has been searching for answers to the ineffable mysteries of existence. And the existential puzzles which have faced man throughout history are the very same puzzles facing man today. Who are we? Why are we here? What is our purpose? Where did we come from? Where are we going? Are we nearly there yet? Which junction is it? Are you holding the map the right way up? Are you sure? Then why are you getting so defensive? I'm not shouting at you. I'm not shouting at you. Why don't we leave this argument for later when we get to your parents? Or better still, store it up. Then you can resurrect it at a drinks party sometime in the future. Now, is it this turning? No. Can I have a travel suite? Thank you. What the... Where have all the red ones gone? Who has eaten all the bloody red ones? Boys? Well, someone must have done it. They don't sell tins with just yellow and green ones in. Only an idiot would buy those. I am not overreacting. I am not. Well, if you hate this marriage so much, why don't you go and sleep with my research assistant, Jeremy? Oh, no, wait, that's right, you already have. So, does that answer your question?
Am I allowed to say no?
No.
Then, yes, it most certainly has.
Oh, hi, darling.
Hi.
How are you? How's your mum?
She's not that good. She died.
Oh, God, what? Oh, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It was just the operation. She just didn't...
You got to be strong, though, yeah? She would have wanted you to be strong.
Yeah,
you know?
thanks. I think...
Give me oil in my lamp, keep me burning. Give me oil in my lamp, I pray. Give me oil in my lamp, keep me burning. Keep me burning till the break of day.
Yeah, we're just...
Sing, oh, stand, sing, oh, stand.
If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire
Team Wilcox. Peter and Alison can't take your call at the moment, so please leave your message after... Oh, bugger.
Put simply, we are not Tony Blair fans. at all.
Tony B. Liar.
We couldn't be. I mean, we're both country people born and bred.
Well, technically, you were brought up in Fulham.
Yes, but in the days when most of it was fields. And Peter, we know, was brought up in a rural area because that's what's in all the pictures, and I don't think your parents would have made that up.
No, I mean, they lied about a lot of things. Their bridge fall with the Mosleys throughout the 1930s being one example. But I don't think they would have staged photos with mock rural backdrops to dupe me into thinking I was farm-reared.
No. And what Tony Blair and his cronies need to realise is that by picking a fight with the countryside, he has picked a fight with the wrong people.
Yes.
Like when Peter tried to punch my father 2 years ago at Christmas.
I don't think we need to tell this again.
It's an analogy, Peter, of course we do. My father called Peter an effing waste of space. And to be fair, Peter had just buggered up our entire future with his hugely embarrassing stock market fiasco. Probably read about it. Everyone did. The Daily Mail called him stock broke.
Cock up broker.
That was it. It was in all the papers. My mother made a scrapbook.
Which was very thoughtful.
Anyway, Peter got cross and tried to punch him, and my papa, who was 78 at the time and suffering from Parkinson's, knocked him out cold.
I let him have a free hit.
Of course. The boys were terribly upset because not only was their father a public failure, he'd just been beaten up by a doddery old man with 2 fake knees.
Who had a free hit.
Anyway, that is what's going to happen to New Labour and Tony Blair if he keeps waging this silly war on the countryside. He's going to get punched in the face, and then, when he's lying on the floor, a black lab's going to come up and bite him on the jing-jangs.
Yeah. He'll need 7 stitches and something to read while he waits alone at the hospital with a bag of defrosting peas on his crotch.
This morning when I woke up from my sleepy pills, I had a sudden plan. So I rang a little bell, and one of the women who looks like a man comes in to ask me what I wish. And I said, I wish it would be Christmas. But she said, but madame, it is August, it is nice, it is sunny. And I said, listen, chubby chops, it will be Christmas by the time I get downstairs, or I will tie you to a boulder and push you in the lake. So all of the women started rushing up and down the house, busy bears, to make my wish come true, whilst I begin my Christmas Day routine. So, first things first, I put on toppy poppy music hits and run around my room in my special runny roundy room pants, which naturally are the ones with pandas on my bum. Then I go downstairs to open presents with Cleaner and the China Lion. Now, Cleaner has been fat this year and smells of poo, so she gets nothing. Whereas China Lion has been a good boy, so he gets gold, frankincense, and ginger beer. He would get myrrh, but he hates it. And if China Lion gets something that he hates, then surely eggs, he will attack. After presents, we move into the drawing room for chocolates and a game of make-a-mime. I am very good at make-a-mime, which is a film where I stand on top of Cleaner and throw toffees at her head. But none of the women can guess the film, so I shout, game over, stupids. It is toffees on the face. And one of the women says, but madame, that is not a film. You have made it up. And I start to cry, and she comes to hug, and I shout, slime ahoy, and put 2 bogies in her hair. Then they take away my stocking and make me do some chores, so I sweep the leaves and chop the logs until they call me into lunch, and we have a special Christmas meal. I pull a cracker when I had good times. I love it. Then this tornado hits the house, and we crash landed onto a ridge. We then follow the yellow big road. The cleaner is a tin man. I am called Dorothy. Oh no, I don't think this is a play or a hymn. I don't care. Shut up, go away.
You all right?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like it.
Well, you know, it's work, isn't it? My boss. We used to get on really well, you know, quite matey around the office, and then in the last few weeks he's just become really vile.
Yeah.
Keeps picking me up on stuff, commenting on my work in front of people, making jokes about me. I know it sounds a little bit pathetic, but it's tantamount to bullying, you know, and to be honest, it's making things pretty difficult for me at the moment.
Yeah, it's a bit like when I worked at that advertising firm, you remember?
Yeah?
Yeah, and I went in there just as a receptionist, and within about literally 3 weeks, this executive, Clive, took me out to lunch and said, listen, you are the most exciting new employee I've ever seen. Will you come and be my assistant? And I said, Clive, I've only been here 3 weeks. And he said, yes, but your mind is so sharp, so perceptive, so naturally ripe for advertising that if I don't have you working for me in this company, I will resign. I said, stop it. And he said, no, I will. You are a shining light. And 2 years later, I was running the whole show. The board said, look, we must have you in charge. There's never been anyone better at this job than you, and we've been in this industry for tens of years. You are astonishing. Have a £2 million bonus.
Right. Sorry, I don't see how that's like my situation.
Isn't there someone in your office called Clive?
Well, there's a Chris in IT.
There you go.
Oh.
What's the time?
It's 10 to 10.
This is it, right? This is really it.
Yeah.
I mean it, Simon. We've got to go tits out on this, okay? Bras off, tits out. If we want to take celebrity drinking glasses to the UK singles market, we will need to go in there and impress the dragons. Full on, tits out, in their faces, so all they can see is tits. Especially Theopophetus. Is that clear?
Yes. Face. Tits.
I can't hear you.
The face.
What's that?
I just get a bit nervous in meetings. It's fine, it'll pass. No, it probably won't. I think I'm going to be sick.
Oh, for God's sake.
Hi, I'm Tony, the producer.
Hi, Tony, I'm Liz Stewart.
And I'm, sorry, I'm...
He's Simon Thomas.
You'll be up in 5 minutes, okay?
Pull yourself together. This is our chance to get the business off the ground, right? If you mess us up, you won't have a business and your children will hate you. Do you want the twins to hate you? They already call another man daddy.
No. But what if Duncan Bannatyne calls me an idiot?
Shut up. He won't. Now let's go in there and stick him in the arse.
Can't we just ask for money?
I got this friend, right? And it's not me. She's called Dee-Nee. Short for Elizabeth. Anyway, she went on this package holiday to Marmaris in Turkey that she got cheap from lastminute.com with this voucher. Or from some other website without a voucher. As it's not me, I would not know. Anyway, she met this waiter out there called something like Mehmet El Sahad. And he was really fit in that, like Brad Pitt if he was a Muslim, and had different eyes and quite a big mole on his eyelid. And they had this amazing connection. Like, he knew what kind of cocktail I liked without even asking, although obviously it wasn't me, it was Dee-Nee. And he took her out on this date. Well, he was sort of working at the time, but he kept walking past her table a lot, at least 4 times, and afterwards it was so romantic. They went for a walk along the beach and he shagged her twice. And the rest of the week, it was love's young dream. She'd turn up to his restaurant, he'd pretend not to recognise her, and every so often he'd walk past and he just couldn't look at her because it was too distracting. And then later he's in a bar and she bought him some beers and a few shots, and then he shagged her again in the toilet. It was like a film. Anyway, by the end of the week she decided this was it. He was the one. But he said she couldn't move in with him because he didn't have his own house. So she said, don't worry, Mehmet. And she flew back to England, sold a car, cashed in her savings, got out a loan and wired it to him. But when he went out looking for houses, he got ambushed by these bandits who made him buy a Mercedes instead, and an iPod, and one of those huge televisions, and a boat. So I'm still in Swindon. Dee-Nee is still in Swindon with quite a lot of loan repayments to make, some of which are crippling, and Mehmet is in Kushadasi, and he's recently been forced to marry a local girl and is now saying that he loves her and wants me to leave them alone. Whatever that means.
I'm sorry, could you explain the product to me one more time? It's a plastic clip-on celebrity.
It's more than that, Theopophetus. It is a novelty drinking vessel appendagement for the UK singles market. British people love drinking, and British people love celebrities. So it's not hard to ascertain that British people will also love drinking from celebrities.
And who the hell's it supposed to be?
Well, the prototype we have with us today is Sir Michael Aspel, and
he's got oriental features.
Yep, and 3 hands.
We are experiencing a few teething problems with our Korean supplier.
This is a ridiculous business. I don't want to listen anymore, and I'm out.
I really need a drink of water.
Theo, and woman at the end.
My name is Deborah Meaden.
Yeah. Can I just say that we have done substantial research into our target arena area, and the UK singles marketisation is, well, it's marketised by just this sort of product, and the business incentives are more...
None of what you just said made sense.
Oh, OK, well, imagine the scene in the bar. Simon.
I think we should go.
Simon! Simon is a UK singles man. Oh, hello, single man.
Hi.
What's that on your glass?
I'm sorry.
Is it Coronation Street's Mike Baldwin?
Yep.
Oh, that is hilarious. Simon, that is hilarious.
Yes. Sorry. Do you want to come back to mine and have sex everywhere?
Yes, please. You see? It sells itself.
Well, I'm your last hope of investment, and I'm out.
I think you're wrong, and I think you're going to reconsider.
I won't.
I think you will. I really think you will.
I really won't. Please get out.
Oh, gee, sorry. It's fine. I got it in the glass.
Well, that was typical. Absolutely typical. What do people who call themselves dragons even know about business?
Think they call themselves millionaires? Liz?
What?
What are we going to do with 6,000 Michael Aspells?
Lindy! That's Lindy, my red setter. She is presently in the yard, barking at rats. Later she will be in the yard killing rats, and after that she'll be in the grounds burying rats in the rat pit. I don't recommend you go down there, it's full of dead rats. Now, there have been dogs at Chingley Hall for generations, and apart from my sister Phyllis, they've all been red setters. Before Lindy there was Landy, before Landy there was Londy, and before Londy there was Lendy, who grew up to be a spaniel and had to be shot. And people say to me, oh, Lord, you're not one of those awful women, are you, who treats their dog like a human being and dresses them up in all sorts of silly clothing? And I say, no. Yes. All Lindy has is a winter coat, a summer coat, a couple of bonnets, a ball gown, culottes, the chenille, a little black dress, a big black dress, one rah-rah, two jerkins, the quilted GA, and a little satin number we call the Marie Antoinette.
Working in the arts can be a challenge. It can be frustrating. It can be a long way round of taking thousands of pounds of other people's money and chucking it in a skip. But when people say, Cal, Yvonne, come on, jack it in, give it up, stop it, we say, no, we can't, we won't, because the arts are in our blood.
They really are. I mean, the other day, my friend, she said to me, what's more important to Yvonne, the arts or your legs? So I had to go away and think about it, do a list. And in the end, I said the arts, because if you took away the arts, I would not be able to get out of bed in the morning. But if you took my legs, I would. I just have to use some sort of rope.
Okay, now be quiet and go outside.
But, ow.
And loving the arts means loving all of them. Equally, like children. At the moment, we're putting on a festival of mime. And when you say the word mime to most people in this country, they will say to you, piss off. If I want to see a silent Frenchman stuck in a box, I will nip over to Calais and watch a funeral. But let me tell you, if I neglected mime, if I said to the Arts Council, no, I don't want to take your money to pay for these shows. Get someone else to do it. I'm putting on a panto with Dirty Den as Widow Twanky and a ginger kid from Coronation Street. I should write that down. Okay. Then I would be guilty of child abuse. Not because of Dirty Den touching that kid. He wouldn't. I'd have a 12-inch rule. But because of mime being a bit like a child. And if mime were a real child, I like to think it would have my lustrous auburn hair. Sorry, just thinking about that has made me a bit tearful. I think it's my lustrous auburn hair. It is. It's my lustrous auburn hair.
I love to paint. Always have. It's a peaceful, solitary pursuit that gives time for rest and introflectionness. And I often come down here to the river for that, because it's such a beautiful paracom of God's creation. I've done several paintings of it. This one I'm working on now is a watercolour, but with a bit of a moral. See, there's the river, the trees, the reeds, and this little fellow here is the duck that stole my cucumber sandwich, even though I'd already given him 5 mini cheddars and some quiche. And so over in the top left here, we've got God sending down a plague, really, of what will be concrete blocks with spikes right on top of that duck and a few of the duck's friends. And while he's at it, that cocky brown bird who sits up in the tree doesn't shut up. Well, he does now. Pow! Sadly, there's a bit of collateral damage in that corner, because the concrete's also squashed a heron and a vole, and they didn't do anything wrong. But God can be a bit like that, can't he?
So, you work in a museum?
Yes, I am the curator, which sounds a lot less important than it actually is.
What kind of museum is it?
An entomological one, or in woman speak...
Insects, yeah, I know.
Huh. Yeah, well, we got a major exhibition on ants at the moment.
Have you?
Yeah, huge. Biggest in the southeast. Gonna make the one in Aylesbury look totally homosexual.
Sounds great.
Yeah, well, it is if you like ants. If you don't, it's £6 to walk around a room full of tiny things you're not that bothered about, which is costly. Which is costly unless you're Rod Stewart or that Bee Gee who's not dead and you got money to burn.
Well, thanks for the drink. I better be getting home.
You don't want to come back to mine for sex?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Are you sure? I got me a waterbed and an iguana.
Really, I'm fine.
Suit yourself. Wasn't that bothered anyway.
Tell me something about you.
What do you mean?
Oh, tell me something that no one else knows.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Go on.
Okay. Well, I buy a lot of apples. I don't eat them, obviously. I'm more of a crisp man myself. But what I do with them is put them all in the summer house at the bottom of my garden. And the plan is to keep putting more in week by week until it's really, really full of apples. And then in about a year, I'm going to invite Tim Henman over for drinks and say, "Hey, TH, fancy a bit of a knockabout?" "You do? Brilliant. Be a love and go and get the rackets. They're in the summer house." And he'll go down there, right? You see where this is going? Yeah? He'll open the door, and then this thick, oozy apple goo is going to spurge out all over him. Like, you know, he's being slimed. Oh, you're right there, Timmy. You appear to be covered in something. It's going to be amazing.
What if he says, "I don't want to knock about, thanks. Tennis is my job. I'm trying to have a day off"?
I hadn't thought of that. Crap. You're right. Back to square one.
I like Oxford, I like Bristol, Liverpool's alright, but I tell you where is shit, okay? The Isle of Man. Seriously, I went there within 1 hour, I was bored. It was so bad that me and my brother ate tissues. I swear to God, tissues. Just for something to do.
I'm an Englishman. Pips call the lot. I was born here and I shall die here unless I buy a villa in the southwest of Spain, because that's a lovely area of the world to die in. My wife's sister died out there. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Such a dazzling coat of many colours, how he loved his coat of many colours. It was red and yellow and pink and brown and ruby and something and ochre. What's ochre? And red and yellow and pink and brown and blue.
I love Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber. I really, really do. My mum loves him as well, but in a really annoying way, because she thinks that she's the only person who appreciates his genius. The other day, she was like, do you know what? Sir Andrew is the world's greatest living composer. Like she just made that up. I was like, yeah, obvious, woman. Tell me something I don't know. I love that. Tell me something I don't know. So she did. She told me I was adopted. Which was quite upsetting, really, but does explain why I'm not black, like my brother Matudu. And I think my favourite one of his is the one he wrote about cats. It's called Cats, but don't worry, it's not real cats. That would be dangerous and crap. It's people who used to be in the background of Casualty or Grange Hill dressed as cats. And I try to see all the productions I can. Last one I saw was in Guildford. It was all right, but I noticed the man sitting directly to my left fancied me. He kept offering me minstrels, and you don't do that out of kindness. It's the theatre. They cost 20 quid. So after Magical Mr. Mistopheles was finished, I said, you fancy me, don't you? He said, no, I don't. I said, yes, you do, and now you're trying to fight it. You're sitting there thinking, I'm not going to fall in love with you. I can resist your powers, you exotic chenille-clad siren. But do you know what? Bonjour, quelle heure est-il? 1:30 love. Then I moved seats because I feared that if I stayed there any longer, his willy might sneeze. And of course, had I been wearing my cagoule, I would have been willing to take that risk.
Talking and Not Talking starred Laura Solon with Ben Moor, Katherine Parkinson and Ben Willbond. It was written by Laura Solon, with additional material by the cast, Carl Cooper, Andy Marlatt and Tony Roche. Original music was by Ozzy Miso, and the producer was Colin Anderson.
Majesty the Queen? Okay, is it someone who looks like Her Majesty the Queen? No, well you will do. What? It is me, as in me, the one who is I. Anyway, I have a joke that I think the Queen would like. In fact, when she hears it, she may want to make me Duchess or something with a crown. Are you ready to hear it? Get a pen. Knock, knock. Who is it? I'll do it. Who is there? The Queen. The Queen who? The Queen... That is all I do, farewell.
Talking and Not Talking with Laura Solon.
The environment always makes me think of the countryside, which makes me think of a guy I know who lives there called Nigel, who's a tit. So I think that if we do destroy the environment, Nigel will die, and that makes me happy. Is that so wrong?
I've got a friend, and she can talk to the animals, and she asks them about climate change, and apparently they're shitting themselves. True story.
I worry about those longer-lasting light bulbs. Do they mean that every time a cartoon character has an idea, the light bulb that appears above their head is going to stay on screen for longer? Because that's going to slow things down.
I don't care if we do destroy the environment, as long as we take the wasps down. I want to see the wasps go down. Your history, wasps. You're gone, yeah? Sting this!
Now, I think, touch wood, that today is going to be another good day. Having said that, you can never be too sure. I thought yesterday was going to be a good day. Then at lunchtime I heard voices telling me to kill myself. Not in my head, I just don't get on with the couple downstairs, which It's quite unhelpful, really, if, like me, you're trying to stay calm. Now, my trouble started 6 months ago when I went paintballing with the office. I'd never been before, so I was nervous but quite excited. And 10 minutes in, I accidentally shot my teammate Anne in the face. And the leg, back, neck, arm, twice in the tits, tied her to a tree. I felt ashamed, but I won't lie, at the same time, strangely elated. But I woke up the next day feeling fine, went into work, and everything seemed normal till I bumped into Wendy in the corridor. Now, I don't like Wendy. They say you are what you eat, which means at some point Wendy ain't a specky Welsh Nazi. But she is a manager, so usually I try to be civil. Anyway, she asked me if I would take her parcel to the post room. I said no. She said please. I said no. She said go on. I said no. She said you're selfish. So I pushed her down the stairs. I wasn't formally charged, but the magistrate did order me to attend therapy for my condition, so once a week I go to this hall, talk about my anger. It's quite boring, really, but some people are fun to be around, like Martin, who's a binge eater, so if you take in chocolate hobnobs, you can actually make him sweat. And then there's Janet, who's been a neurotic for the past 5 years following a car accident, but recently she's developed obsessive-compulsive tendencies, so I asked her to move in with me because I hate cleaning.
Not many people know this, but Mensa, the Society for People with Exceptionally High Intelligence, was recently rocked by allegations of bullying and so-called beasting amongst its members. Now, I managed to speak to some of the victims. A lot of them still live in fear and ask for their voices to be obscured to protect their identity. Of course, I said yes, but I'm not going to because I can't work the machine. Anyway, here's what some of them had to say.
I joined Mensa in 1981, and it was lovely back then. Used to meet up and have fun over maths puzzles and those funny sequences with the geometric shapes. Triangle, 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 spoon. That was my favourite one. But then last year I went on a mental exercise camp in Wales, and I struggled with this verbal reasoning problem. So they covered me in jam and made me stand between two other members and pretend to be a sandwich. I've never felt so stupid, except when I went on 15-1 and said Banbury was the capital of Mexico. That was the worst. William G. Stewart called me a plank.
Stephanie's testimony is not unique. I also spoke to Mark Willis.
I asked you not to use my real name.
Oh, yeah. OK. I also spoke to Merck Wallace, and he said he'd had similar trouble.
It was April. I'd gone down to London for the weekend for a mental arithmetic tournament. Basically, a room full of single virgins shouting out numbers. Anyway, I got to the quarter-final and went to bed early to get a good night's sleep, but one of the organisers ordered a code red, and at 3 a.m. I was awoken, beaten, and then left tied to my bed with a gag in my mouth. I died. But Tom Cruise prosecuted my commanding officer with a great speech about crystals.
No, he didn't. That's a few good men. The bullying was clearly a widespread problem, and today I am joined by Mensa recruitment officer Anthony Bell. Anthony.
Salve, Puela.
Prick. Anthony, there seems to be quite a problem with bullying in your organisation.
No, there isn't.
Yes, there is.
No, there isn't. And you smell?
Great argument, Anthony. I thought you were supposed to be a brainiac.
No, someone's in a bad mood.
No, someone isn't.
Yes, you are. You're in a bad mood.
I'm not.
You are? What's the problem? Women's issues?
Shut up.
No, wussy.
I hate you.
Women. Can't live with them. Not allowed to hit them.
This morning when I woke up, I was very, very huffy. Almost as huffy as the time cleaner cleaned my bathroom, and I didn't like it, so I hit her with a stick. She cried. Good times. I love it. One of the women made me say sorry, but it did not count, because I hate cleaner and had my fingers crossed behind my back. Ha, 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 ha. Anyway, I was feeling sulky socks, so I went to the drawing room for some counsel with a China lion. Now, China lion is a firm pal whom I made in an art class at my Hamburg school. The teacher said, a lion? He should be yellow. I said, piss off. I will paint him blue. Now, China China Lion sits on the mantelpiece so he can see the window, so he can see the door, and so he can spy on the rabbit made of bronze. And after some idle chit-chat on the weather, he tells me that he wants to make a secret den. And let me tell you, if China Lion does not get what he wants, he will open a whoop-ass on your head. So, we clip-clop up to my room and make the preparations. China Lion puts the bed against the door, thus I pull all the clothes from the doors and all the books from the shelf and throw them out the window at the garden man. But weedy-woo, he does not even move. So we march downstairs to where he sits and shout, "Garden man, why are you not picking up the crap?" But again, he does not move a single inch, just sitting there on his toadstool, bold as jam, with his beard and plastic hat. Then one of the women who's in the kitchen comes running out and says, "Madame, that is not the gardener, that is a garden gnome." But all I hear is, "Meh, meh, 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 meh." So I shout, "You're a gnome," and punch her in the bum. So they put me on the naughty spot and made me do my homework, you know, and so what? It's just drawing and a few numbers, easy street. Then I said, "Women, I'm finished," and then I got on my bike, rode round, good times, I love it.
To work in any gift shop is a privilege, but to work in a royal gift shop,
It is an honour.
Because when you work in the Souvenir Emporium at Buckingham Palace, you're working directly for, pray silence, Her Majesty the Queen.
Well, technically you're working for Sue Beresford.
Technically, yes.
And above Sue there's Andrew Edwards and that screech of gaze.
There is. And then that awful Belgian woman who smells of prawns. No one knows why. But above that, you're working for the Queen herself. And what better way to serve Her Majesty than to sell her souvenirs at a premium to tourists? I mean, obviously another way to serve her would be to join the army, but green's not really my colour and, well, you'd just be bullied senseless.
Yes. You see, I make a high-pitched noise when I run. They'd just put me in a military prison and make me do press-ups till I died.
Whereas here we take money for lovely, lovely trinkets, and they are lovely. We've got mugs, we've got plates, jumbo pencils, and this rather delightful Hoover cover in the shape of the Queen. And it's reversible, so if you do get the chance, you can also use it as a Queen cover in the shape of a Hoover. You won't get the chance.
And don't forget all the lovely beefeater bears.
I can't, David.
All shapes and sizes. One so big that when Anne-Marie's husband saw it, he had a heart attack and nearly died.
Very nearly. So by selling all of these things, we are doing our duty to our much-loved Queen.
But I tell you who isn't much loved. The Duchess of Bloody York.
Oh, God, no. No, she's bloody not. The Queen is the finest wine, whereas Fergie is bin juice.
What's bin juice?
That horrid liquid that smells at the bottom of bins.
Gross, yes. Ugh.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was in with all the greats, all the big names. Mad Frankie Fraser, Big Bill Hitchens, Jimmy the Nut, Killer, 1-2, and Shitface, who actually had very good bone structure. We was a proper crime ring, you know. Pulling off jobs, then popping over to Marbella to launder the cash, live the high life, brothers in arms, and crime. And then in the 90s, I just said, enough's enough, and I retired.
That's not what happened.
Jean, I thought you was in the pool.
You didn't retire. They kicked you out. Didn't want to be your friend no more. And why was that, Billy? Why was that?
Because I got my hair permed.
And?
I look like a knob.
Yeah, so the guy asked me if I want a warranty with it, and I'm thinking, does Mackie Chang want to be a warranty kind of guy? You know what I'm saying? And
Sorry, what was that word you just said?
Mackie Chang?
Who is that?
Well, it's me. Well, I'm trying to make it me.
Why would you do that?
Well, look, it's all right for you. I mean, you've got a nickname. You know, well, you've got a few, actually, but some aren't that nice. All my life, basically, I've been called Philip, and it's boring. No one ever abbreviates it to Phil, and I thought the other day a change is as good as a holiday. Well, unless it's a holiday to Weston-super-Mare, in which case the change is just way better. So anyway, I came up with a shortlist, picked Mackie Chang as the winner, and now I'm dropping it into sentences to help it catch on.
Right, and Mackie Chang was really the best one you came up with?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was either that or Filipino, and I think some people will object to that. Because, you know, I mean, it's ethnically sensitive, isn't it? And Mackie Chang, don't want to be no racist, you holler.
Does Mackie Chang have to speak like a wanker?
No, but it adds another layer to him. Y'all, check it.
I am going to go and eat my lunch over there.
Great. Can I come?
No. But you know, if you go out that door, down the stairs, out the back exit, left down the street, straight on, right again, you get to a park.
Yep.
You should go and eat your lunch there.
Lindy! 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 That's Lindy, my red setter. She is in the yard, barking at rats. She's a lovely dog, really. Wouldn't hurt a soul unless you are a rat, in which case she will destroy you from the inside out, rip out your lungs, and use them as a storage facility. Now, here at Chingley Hall, we watch a lot of films. I love films, Lindy loves films, my sister Phyllis loves films, although she never has the time to watch them because she's got no legs. Takes her about 7 hours to shuffle down to the breakfast room, by which point it's time for her to go back upstairs to bed, by which point she has 10 minutes before she starts shuffling down to the breakfast room, and so on and so on. She hasn't slept since 1994. But to meet the cost of reparations, we are currently hiring ourselves out as a film set for a new production of Far From the Madding Crowd. Reese Witherspoon will play Bathsheba, Orlando Bloom will play Gabriel, and in a bold piece of casting, the Madding Crowd will be played by rats.
In my spare time, I like to pretend I'm Stanley Kubrick. It's harder now he's dead, but I like the challenge.
Sometimes in my spare time I get hungry, so I sprinkle cheese on a piece of toast and put it under the grill for a few minutes. And here's where it's clever. I don't call it cheese on toast. I call it toast under cheese. It's brought a lot of happiness to my life.
I like bruising fruit. Some people say to me, why do you go around bruising fruits at random? Why do you do that? Why? That apple's ruined now. No one can eat it. Why did you just do that? That's the thing about people. They go on. Fruits just take the bruise.
I love making my house look great, although the other day I bought one of those self-assembly wardrobes, right? And it was weird because I don't know if I did it wrong or what, but when I finished, the back of the wardrobe just fell off, and I found myself in a self-assembly Narnia. And it was a nightmare. Took me ages to put Mr. Tumnus together. And of course, at the end, I had a hoof left over. So, you know, we are having a party in our house for our neighbor who is nearly dead.
Yes, she's very old and made of dust. If you push her, maybe she would break into powder.
So we are cooking a traditional meal, which I'll tell you recipe. You take 1 potato, and that is all, and then you drink a lot so you don't have to eat it.
I am doing music, and we know what to have when she walks in.
Daniel Bedingfield! If you looked at one, then why does my hair pass away?
We also know what to have when she sit down.
Daniel Bedingfield!
I've got to get through it. I've got to get through it. Hot pocket! And we know what to have when she leaves.
Chris Rea, there is a road in hell. Making joke, Daniel Bedingfield! And always because, to be simple, you can have him every time when people are happy, when people are sad, and when people are nearly dead.
You've got to get through it. You've got to get through this. You know, if you don't like that, your heart is on the outside of your body in the bin.
I wouldn't say the neighbours were trouble as such, but they are always trying to go one better than us. We got new patio doors, they got a new conservatory. We got a new dishwasher, they got a Vietnamese woman in. That last one was a bit OTT, I thought. We had them round for a really fancy Chinese meal, and when it was their turn to repay the favour, you'll never guess what they did to trump my homemade fortune cookies. They hired a Russell Grant lookalike to burst out of a great big cake and do our horoscopes. Ridiculous.
It was just one of those eureka moments, except I wasn't in the bath. I was at home making lunch, and suddenly it dawned on me that there was nowhere in my local area where people could go and buy very expensive bread. So I did a course, two actually, one to learn how to make bread and one where I learned how to write labels with very high prices. And within 6 months, I'd opened up a shop. And there was a real buzz about the place, people saying to each other, have you seen that new very expensive bread shop on the high street? What, the one next to the shop that sells very expensive cheese? That's it. I went in there the other day, I paid £8 for a baguette. Amazing. I'm now going to enjoy it with my cheddar that cost £1,000. And people can't get enough of the place. And part of me wants to tell them, Peeps, what are you doing? It's just flour and water and yeast. Yeah, sure, some of it's got olives in, and this one's named after an Italian prince, but let's not go overboard. It's still just bread. But the other part of me tells me to shut up because it loves the smell of their cash. The other day, after closing, I drew the blinds, took my clothes off, and then rubbed myself all over with the 50s in the till. I was so happy I cried. Tomorrow, I'm going to fill a bucket with 20s and just sit there with my feet in it. I can't wait. It's going to be superb.
So, he asked Marcy if he can wash her rocks for her.
You're kidding.
No, it's absolutely true.
He's coming.
Guys.
Oh, God, look busy.
Hey, guys. I was wondering if you needed any help in your trench.
Well, that's very kind of you to offer, Dick, but we're all set, thanks.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Ed and the other guys need some help in theirs?
No, I just came from over there. They said they were just fine.
Well, what about Marcy? She's on her own in hers. Maybe she...
I'm fine!
I just asked her as well. She said it was more of a one-person job. So, are you sure you don't need any extra digging? I have a virgin trowel, and it sure would be fun to christen it.
There's not really enough room, so no.
I could scooch in there, maybe behind Mike.
No, come on, it's not really big enough.
Okay.
Oh, Dick, why don't you go and start your own trench?
Sure. Okay. I guess that would be logical. Okay, see you later. Okay. You know, I'm pretty fast at digging, so if any of you guys feel like checking out a new trench, yeah, they're not listening, Dick. Okay.
Oh, this painting's just breathtaking. I mean, the colours, the contours, the way that mother cradles the child. I don't know. It's
Yeah, I know. Just to stand here and let it wash over us, you know.
There's water, water of life. Jesus gives us the water of life. There's water.
Okay, so that's 2 cappuccinos and 1 tart.
Yeah, Kylie's good, isn't she? Kylie, great performer. Catchy tunes and lavish costumes.
Yeah, I suppose.
Will and Grace is good as well. It's so funny because he's gay.
Yeah, I
tell you what else is good. Gay rights and porn with just men in.
Yep. Right, is that all? Or?
Yes, thank you, yes.
Well, that went very, very well, don't you think?
What were you doing?
Our waiter was clearly gay.
So?
So I thought, I wonder if he knows that we know that he's gay. And now I think that he does.
I am a lock keeper. I keep the Marsh Lock, which is just down the canal from Henley-on-Thames. And on a typical day, I get up, make myself a cup of tea, then someone wants to come through the lock, so I go out and let them through. Then I go back inside, and just as I'm about to sit down and drink my tea, another vessel comes through, so out I go to open up the lock once again. Then I go back in, barely sit myself down when I have to go out and let another one through, maybe 2 in a row. Then it's back in, make myself a new cuppa, because the old one's gone cold. Out again, open lock, in again, out again, in again, out again, up and down like a woman's mood. In, out, lunch, in, out, then around 4 p.m. I go very quiet and I stop blinking. And then when the next boat comes through, I take off my shirt, write, "Mummy dead," I wear her head across my chest, then I run towards the vessel screaming, "All day, every day, it's like a dripping bloody tap! I will kill you! I will kill you with my Stanley knife!" And then usually, the rest of the day, I sort of have to myself, really. Just sit in my chair with my tea and chillax.
I bet you I can name 5 shows where the lead character is not human.
I'm sure you can.
No, I bet I can. You have to bet I can't.
Why?
Just do it.
Okay, I bet you can't.
Well. Look who's about to lose a bet. It's you. The Muppet Show, Metal Mickey, Alf, Tales of Farthingwood and Bergerac. Ha ha ha. 1-0.
Bergerac starred John Nettles as a detective.
Wasn't there a fox with a magic hood?
No.
Okay, I bet you I can name 4 shows where the lead character is not human.
How was your date?
Which date?
The date. The one with Amanda.
Oh, yeah, up and down. Some people might say more downs than up, but some people are quite negative in their outlooks, aren't they?
Okay. Well, what happened?
Well, we met in town for a drink, which went very well, so an up. And then, because she'd said that she liked musicals, I surprised her with 2 tickets for Starlight Express.
How lovely.
No, it wasn't. Because what she didn't tell me is that she has a phobia of people on wheels. I'm not exactly sure why, but I think it's something to do with the fact that after her mum died, her dad put this mannequin on top of a remote-control car, dressed it up in her mum's clothes, and would then wheel it into her room in the middle of the night saying, "Mummy's back, all better now."
Bloody hell.
Anyway, she didn't say anything about that, so we just sat in the theatre. And then the curtains rise and she freezes. Tears pouring down. And then when they get going with Starlight Express, Starlight Express, yeah, they came quite near our seats and she just starts screaming, "Get them away from me. Get those bloody wheelie gimps away from me." Which was a bit embarrassing because there were some people in wheelchairs down at the front. And they thought she was talking about them, but she wasn't, okay? She likes disabled people and often goes to shopping centres to watch them go up and down on the ramps.
Really?
Yeah, she says it's inspiring. Anyway, for the next 10 minutes, she's just shaking and screaming and crying and shouting and biting. And, I'm thinking, this is a down. And eventually, I persuade her to leave the auditorium for some fresh air. And we're out there for about half an hour, breathing together and me telling her it's okay. And all of a sudden the theatre empties for the interval, and this American guy comes up to us and says, "Thank you so much. Your scream song was fantastic. Really the best thing in the entire show." And he thrusts 200 quid into my hand.
You're joking.
No. So I gave Amanda 20 quid, put her in a taxi home, and spent the rest of the money on a soapy lap dance in Spearmint Rhino. Best night of my life. Best night of my life.
Talking and Not Talking starred Laura Solon with Ben Moor, Katherine Parkinson and Ben Willbond. It was written by Laura Solon, with additional material by the cast, Carl Cooper, Andy Marlatt and Tony Roche. Original music was by Ozzy Miso, and the producer was Colin Anderson.
Hello, it is me. Mimi, who is calling from the house. Is this a number for the predictive future speaky line? What? Horoscope? Shut up, there is no such word. I want to know what lies in store for me, as in Mimi, the woman from the house. Will I be happy? Will I be rich? Will the cleaner mate with a Volvo and bear a child with wheels? What? Well, I don't exactly know the name of my star sign, but I do know it is a picture of a cat with a hammer, and some twins, and a fish. Yes, I can give you my date of birth. Have you got a pen? Good. It is 01-25. 1. Spaghetti hoops. I'm bored now. Shut up, go away.